Okay, so what we're talking about, if I can have your attention for a second, one of the issues I'm seeing with most groups, on that experimental design form where it says things like, what data are you basing this on? Part of the process we're doing here is really, most of you were freshmen last year. Your graduation standards are tied to the PARCC test in English. That has not gone away. And a big focus of those tests are ideas like getting evidence from text. I'm going to quote the dear, awesome, and now retired and just subbing occasionally, Ms. Gabbert, who said, "Oh, do you have a PhD in blah, blah, blah? No? Then nobody cares what you think." So to cite evidence from an article, you have to actually be able to go to the text and pull out the piece that says, you know, vinegar will burn the leaves of plants if applied directly to them. Sodium bicarbonate will increase soil pH. Epsom salts are a good source of magnesium for plants. You have to be able to go to that text and say, this is what I'm basing it on. Salt kills the leaves of plants when it builds up in them. Or alcohol causes plants to end up shorter than they would otherwise because of water stress. You have to be able to go to the text and point to where it says blah, blah, blah. Now I'm going to tell you, this is also a good skill for the rest of your life. You know, you're not going to use scientific texts, probably most of you, for the rest of your life, but you're going to be asked to read and understand what you're reading. So that going to the text and pulling something out is really important. When you get to your experimental design page, I don't think any of you are ready to be on the back by yourselves, because that's what I'm seeing. I want to make sure that you get the front done well, because everything you do on the back depends on the work you did on the front. No, that's probably okay. I don't know. I haven't read it. What effect do you think, you know, salt, sodium chloride, vinegar, baking soda, Epsom salts is going to have on your plant? That is coming from what you have learned from the article you've read. And then that next one, what data or evidence are you basing this on? You have to be able to go to the text. It should not just say an article by Amy Grant. It should say, you know, in an article, you know, on blah, 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 gardeningknowhow.com, Cornell Chronicle, it was stated, and you can actually quote, you should quote text, because again, like Mrs. Gabbert said, do you have a PhD? Oh, no, then nobody cares what you think. Which isn't true. We care what you think. But you're not an expert on plant growth or horticulture or plant physiology. So, you know, does that make sense? Okay. When you think you have the front entirely done of that experiment, so you have to summarize, you have to finish reading that article before you can go to the experimental design piece. And you have to understand the vocabulary you've been encountering before you can go to the experimental design piece. The other part, when you quote, you know, what evidence are you basing this on, that's a good place to put in a short summary of what you learned from the article that you read. You know, according to an article, vinegar functions as an herbicide if it's applied on the leaves, but you know, the only effect it has when applied to the soil is to raise pH. In some cases, the article you're reading may generate more questions. Like with vinegar, well, if it if it lowers the pH, how does lower pH affect plant growth? You would have to look that up. Gesundheit. Gesundheit again. With baking soda, that would raise pH. How does raising pH affect plant growth? So it's kind of a multi-step process. Once you summarize the article and you think you understand what it's saying, then you can go to that experimental design sheet, get the front done, and let me know, and I will come over and check in with you. And by the way, our beans have germinated beautifully. These are just dollar store beans, and we had near universal germination. So they've done very, very well.
Over this summer, my dad's been getting into
When you walk in here tomorrow, we were supposed to plant these today. Obviously, we haven't gotten to it. Yeah, we were, and yesterday got vaporized. So when you walk in here tomorrow, your article summary is done. There's no more messing around. I told you it was homework, and people just didn't do it. Hold 1 second. You don't have far to go. You have to have the front page of that experimental design sheet done. Okay? That's it, and we'll see you tomorrow.